stream. Yeah, well, welcome back to Appf1 Elite. Round Monaco. I think it's round 6, I'm not sure. Um, Let me look at the standings. So, who's on top? It's Lifeboat, then Rills, then FCR Tronk, and then Ghost. So, battle for second is a 4-way tie. So, that's gonna be interesting at least. As we see that sim guy heading out of the pits. Let's get everything ready to go. Let me just... Yeah, you're welcome, Ghost. Big. You're welcome. Anyway, as we head back to qualifying, let me just get everything ready. Update that track map. Yeah, so we're just done with the real Monaco. It was a decent race. I don't know what the fuck Aston Martin did with Fernando Alonso when they pit him, but whatever. Hopefully nobody does a Ferrari strategy for today's, I guess, grid. As we look at... No, let's look at that. There we go. Well, let's look at the first guy on track. Is that Burton? No, it's BDR. No, BRD Kelvin. He's just getting ready for his lap. I don't have that. There we go. Second gear. That's a little low. And that is too low for BRD Kelvin, as I called it. Okay, as we see, ooh, that's gonna hinder that sim guy's first run at least a little bit, but he was in third, so that means that he didn't spin. That was also quite low, but he was going very slow because of BDR. So, quite aggressive turn one. Then you can almost straight line these corners here, stick to the right, then just chuck your car into this left-right hander, hope it sticks, and go a little to the right here, avoid that bump on the road. So purple first sector, but that's because he's the first guy out. Now, aggressive hairpin to try to get a good exit. A little cautious. Second gear all the way through the hairpin. Almost losing the car on traction. It's very difficult to get traction into the tunnel here, especially late in the race. And now he's going to abort this lap. So not good enough for that sim guy. I mean, he has definitely has another run, but let's go on to Rick. He spun here a couple of days ago on exit. Let's see, hopefully he doesn't do that again. As we see him throw this car into fourth gear. Very close to those walls. Now, final sector. Last corner. Yeah, it can go very close to the walls. Him hitting them, almost losing it on traction. There's no grip on that road whatsoever, and he goes for 1:11.9. So we see that sim guy starting his lap, and Lifeboat, aka the Quali Merchant, putting in a 1:11.2. So he did not have the greatest of qualifying on Friday, binning it. But qualifying was in wet weather, so slightly different conditions as we see people popping in their lap times. Let's see, is Bergen is just finishing his lap, but that wasn't a great lap again. It's going to be a 1:17. Yeah, so 6 seconds off of pole. That's not where you want to be. But let's go down to Ghost. He always is competitive. Little squirmy off of that exit in third, already in fourth. The Earth's open, just straight line to the finish line, and it's P2, a tenth away from Lifeboat, so very close. It's going to be a qualifying between Lifeboat and Ghost, presumably, but who knows, maybe someone can challenge them. That sim guy sometimes has great qualifyings, as he is the teammate of Lifeboat. What can he pop in? And that's P2. So, slightly better track, slightly worse tires, and a slightly worse lap time than his teammate. roughly 60 thousands. Yeah, look at that math skills. As we see, Scorpiaro just finishing his lap. No, not quite. That's a very slow lap as he hits the walls. So not too clean. Let's hope that he's gonna make it in one piece, as he hasn't. He's lost some front wing there, but no repair time because it is online qualifying. So no repercussions for him. As we see a couple of people out on a lap. Nobody's setting a lap time as far as I can see. Oh no, Speldrunk is on a lap. Is he? Or is he on an in-lap? I'm not too sure. No, that's way too slow. Yeah. As we see, most people either heading in or already in the pits. Let's look at playing. He's on an out lap. He's going to try and set a lap. And Rills, his teammate, as well. Let's see who's going to be first to the line. I think it's going to be P. Manila. He hasn't set a lap time yet. He's just setting up his lap. Second, third. You want to be at least third here, maybe fourth. So short shift into fourth. It is. And now we're going to ride on board P. Manila. Very aggressive. Cutting that chicane, or not chicane, curb into turn one, as you can do. I mean, Monaco is all about getting as close as possible to the walls. As he pops in the fastest first sector, a little wide there, into, I don't know, I have no idea what the corners are. I guess that's 6. I'm gonna assume. Or would that be 4? Well, anyway, as we go down to the chicane, let's look at his time. It's gonna be another purple sector. Yes, it is. He's flying. Let's see. Final sector, very close to that inside wall. As he goes a little wide here. Third it is. Now it's just foot to the floor, hitting the wall like Verstappen did on Saturday, and he puts it into P4, cutting the chicane, or the curb. Turn 1. Very easy to understeer in this slow section into the walls. You just need to brake early enough to not do that, and Flying is aborting his lap. Let's look at Scorpiaro's. He's also starting his lap on 80% ERS. That should be good enough. So we see Reshka finishing his lap. No, starting his lap. Apologies. Let's look at an onboard right here. So straighten out your steering wheel. Go to the right. Chuck it into the left. The long left-hander of the casino section. This looks like a very clean first sector, and it is purple. First gear for Reshka. You just gotta watch out that you don't lose it on the exit then. Very careful on power. So, let's see what he can do. Brake early, but not too early, and he invalidates it on that crucial chicane. That chicane is a make or break. If you take it slightly wrong, it can spit you out and ruin at least like 4/10. And if you take it wrong in a different manner, it'll just invalidate your lap. So he doesn't get it right, but he does have enough time, I think, to regenerate that ERS that he needs to set another lap. As we look at BRD, he's just finishing his lap. He's 4/10 up. That's not where you would want to be. 2 seconds down, maybe. He might be able to put it in 8th. He puts it in 7th, right behind Rick. As Lifeboat improves by 3/10. Not quite. Let's see what his teammate can say. As Ghost has spun, and he is in first gear, and he has lost his front wing, so damage to the car. But he's going to be able to go back to the pits. It's just going to be a slow in lap for him. Let's see how big the damage is. Yeah, just the whole front wing gone. As you can see, people are pushing. Although it was gone in the middle of the straight. I don't know what he did. As we see yellow flags, and the Aston Martin of Plang, yes, Plang, sent it a little too hard into turn 4. I'm going to call this turn 4. Yeah, just, it's easy to do. You miss your braking point by like 2 meters there. You don't quite hit the yellow thing. And then you just go through. As Reshka sets the fastest lap, 2/10 faster than Lifeboat, as he clips the wall after his lap is done. And then that Sim guy is on his out lap. He's going to try and challenge for pole, even if it's just provisional for now. Now Ghost, he's almost limped, I guess, back home. He's almost done. Now he's back. He's going to get his stuff repaired, and he's going to be back fighting for that pole position. As we are going to go on to Rick, his teammate. He sets the fastest first sector, so up 1/10 of a second of his previous time, I believe. So decent first sector from Rick. As he is an Alpine, maybe he's going to try and emulate the lap of Ocon on Saturday, because what a lap that was. Now let's see, is he going to miss his braking point? No, he's not. He's going to get the cut back a little wide through that chicane, losing it a little bit there. As you can see, traction just not being there. And he is clipping the walls, but that just shows how much he's pushing. He's pushing to the absolute limit. What is this going to be? How close does he dare to go to the walls? Not the limit in the last 3 corners, but let's see what it's going to be. And it is going to be P2, 36 thousandths of a second behind Reshka. So Rick definitely in contention for pole. So we see just how close the field is. So Reshka, Rick, Lifeboat, Sim, and Ghost challenging for pole position right now. Let's see who's going to come out ahead. As we see Haas. Oh, just getting out of the way from the guys. Got it. Is that Sim guys? Is he up on his? He is up on his time. 4/10. That could be a. That could be a first row. No, it's not first row. It's a provisional pole position, and it improves by a huge amount. That's a 1:10.3. That's faster than, almost half a second faster than anyone until now. Let's see what these guys have to answer. Wow, what an improvement by that Sim guy. What a lap. As we're going to ride on board with Ghost. Let's see if he's going to make this lap. What he needs to make it. He spun last time around. Let's hope he doesn't do that again. See how close he gets to the wall. Not as close as he could. A little. Oh, as there's front wing of another car just in the middle of the track. That might be a little distracting for Ghost. Let's see. First gear though also for him. Through that 180-degree turn. As we see him in the tunnel. I mean, flat out easily. Brake right after the 100 board. He's aggressively taking that chicane. Let's see how much time that saved him. He's up 6/10 of a second, so he needs 3 more tenths in this final sector, and he just doesn't have it. And that's not going to be enough time to regenerate ERS. Although he might be on the softer compound, where he's just going to do one more lap and then another lap after that. That could be a strat. So yeah, just that last sector, Ghost not quite. I think hitting the wall and then just not having enough inertia going to the right. As we look at Lifeboat, he's right behind the house. That's not where he wants to be. He's also in 4th place. That's not where he wants to be either. So let's see if he can put in a lap, which would grant him the name of Lifeboat, the Quality Merchant. So he is not overtaking BDR. That's interesting. So let's look at people that are finishing their laps. 5/10 up on his previous time, Scott. And I don't know what that was. Let's see. Scarpiaro on his lap. What happened here? Nothing much. Okay. Well, let's look at Scarpiaro. He's up almost half a tenth. No, it's 6/10 up. I could put him into P9 as BDR has retired from session. That Ghost just drives past him. Let's see, what is this going to be from Scarpiaro? It's just crossing the finish line now, and it's P12. So, decent lap. So look at that sim guy now. And Lifeboat, he's invalidated his lap. How much time does he have left? Is that plenty or not enough? I can't tell. As we see Reshka, he's going to want that pole position and not just that front row. What's he doing? How much is he up by? He's up by... Ooh, he's down by 1 second. That's not too good. He's also regenerating ERS. So that means he has one more shot. As Spelled Wrong has retired from session. Where is he retired? In the pits. Okay. 10 more seconds, and that's not what Lifebot would want. He would like to have a little more time than that. But it's now or never. 6, 5... Nah, it's gonna be easy. Okay, let's look back at that sim guy. He's on provisional pole. Is he setting a lap? Doesn't look like he is. So he's either invalidated or he's done something with it. Yeah, it's definitely not pushing. As we see Reshka, second gear, heading into the tunnel. Now this is where he can make his lap. Down invalidated, and he doesn't. This looks a lot... Well, I don't know if it looks a lot cleaner than his last one. And he's down by 2/10. Let's see if he finds anything in the last sector. Maybe he can do something as he loses the rear. No, that doesn't look like an improvement. Lifeboat hitting the wall. Is anybody going to improve, or is that going to be pole position for that sim guy? And that's not an improvement. Nobody's improving on track, so either track evolution not being there, or all these guys just not able to put in a lap on their final runs. So it's going to be that sim guy on pole position, followed by Reshka, then Rick, Lifeboat, Ghost, Manila, and the rest. Who are we waiting for? Rick, Ghost, okay. So, what a lap from that sim guy. 4/10 clear from everybody. So here we go. That sim guy in P1, half a second ahead of Rushka on the front row. Wreck P3, Lifeboat P4, very close here behind them. Ghost P5, P Manila P6, Rails P7, Spellrun P8, and then BRD Calvin P9, Scott P10 playing 11, Scorpio and Bergen at the back. So, yeah, let's head to the race. Although, yeah, let's head to the race. I'll be back in a sec. I'll be back once the lights turn on. Okay, and we're back. Right as that sim guy is just about to line up on the grid. Interval, yeah. Position change. There we go. So we see the guys lining up on the grid. Lifeboat and P Manila disqualified. Let's see when that was. Maybe too greedy. Yeah, looks like both of them were a little bit too greedy. Playing very aggressive. What the f... So we see 4 or 5 red lights, kind of. And away we go. And this is a really bad angle. Come on, I don't see anything. As Saxon guy gets away and Rick into P2, Lifeboat into P3, but he's ghosted. Ghost into P4. Reshka gets an awful start. He's down 3 positions, side by side with Ghost. And now he's ahead of Ghost. So Ghost also into the wall. Let's see what happened here. Let's see if Rills can start an attack. Not quite as spelled wrong as aggressive into turn, whatever that is. And we see now single file through the hairpin. As we now look at that same guy keeping his P1, but pressured by Rick on medium tires. Lifeboat right behind, and right behind him Reshka. So Reshka down the inside of Lifeboat, not quite able to make the move, as Lifeboat cuts the chicane a little bit to stay in front. And Reshka on the inside of Lifeboat, tapping him, I think. Reshka really trying to push Lifeboat here in the beginning stage of the race. So no room to breathe for Lifeboat. Ghost behind him is slowly climbing back, so back into 7/10. As we look at Rick and that sim guy, 2 seconds ahead of these guys. As that sim guy is on hard tires, I believe. Yes, he is. Rick behind him. Lifeboat only on 60% ERS, similar to Reshka. And Ghost also 60%. So these two, whatever these are doing, they're doing it right. 2 seconds ahead of the rest. So this is fight for the podium for now, as it seems. As Rick is pressuring that sim guy all the way through here. He's going to try and start up an attack into the chicane. 3/10, that's not quite big enough of a gap. Or is it? That sim guy to the inside, and you just can't overtake here if the driver in front knows what he's doing. Unless they're on ailing tires or having damage, it's very difficult to overtake in Monaco without making it too dirty. A little wheel banging is always going to happen, but it needs to be within the lines. So we see Rick now losing the car a little bit. You see just how much he's pushing, but Lifeboat, Reshka, and Ghost have started to crawl back. So 1 second now only from Lifeboat to Rick. As Lifeboat sets the fastest lap on those medium tires. Let's look at the tires of the grid, because I did not do that previously. Tires. So, fairly split. Most of the front runners are running mediums, except that sim guy who was on pole position and still is leading. So, he's enjoying life currently. Although I believe medium hard is the better strategy for Monaco. You just get that undercut naturally, and you get that faster tires at the beginning because you just cannot overtake in Monaco. But yeah, let's see. As we see, Lifeboat has caught up now to Rick, 7/10, 5/10. And Ghost has fallen off a little bit. Or maybe he's just saving tires. I mean, the guys in front aren't going anywhere. As the fastest lap is traded between these three. Some guy just chilling in front. He's just making sure that Rick isn't able to arm up an attack, as Rick catches the car. Very nice save by the Dutchman. So yeah, let's see. So yeah, this is Monaco. Everybody close to each other, nobody quite able to overtake. The only interesting part about Monaco is the immediate danger. Anything could happen anytime. And as I say that, Scott has spun around, and he's lost his front wing for good measures. but he's not last. Well, he's going to be as soon as he pits, obviously, but well, it's going to happen to anyone at any given moment. And now safety car. I don't believe safety car is able to activate in Monaco. I've never seen one. So if you spin, it's not great. You're definitely out of contention for fight for the win, but people could spin or break their wings at the front, so you're definitely still fighting for some points, even if you have to make an earlier pit stop than anticipated. Let's see, he has to make a pit stop on medium tires. Well, that's going to give him some extra grip, but that means that he has to pit again. As we head to that sim guy, 8 tenths to Rick, 6 tenths to Lifeboat, 7 tenths to Reshka, and Ghost is pitting. Is he going to change his front wing? Yes, he is. So he did get some damage either at the start or he just clipped the barrier, and that's going to set him back quite some bit. Let's see where he's gonna try and come out ahead of Scarpiaro, but that's not gonna work, as Scarpiaro and the rest are just passing him. So he's gonna be very close with Bergen, but not quite. So, I mean, he did an early pit stop on Friday, which really helped him out in the race with strategy, as he loses his car and some pieces of his wing, I assume, as I don't get a good camera angle. Come on. No, his wing stays intact. How that wing stayed intact, I don't know, but that was a big hit with the wall, and he got away with it, nevertheless. So, he's still able to attack, but those hard tires just having zero grip out of the pits, they're ice cold. You really need to watch out when you're switching on to these hard tires. They're just like an ice rink for the first couple hundred meters. Then they start to warm up as he hits the wall again. So Ghost just not quite as concentrated as he usually is. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he needs to get his shit fixed, I guess, as he goes into the pits again. So he did get some damage. What has happened here? As Bergen has retired, but I don't think that's going to bring out the safety car. Yeah, Ghost has to change his wing again. Although I didn't see any damage, maybe he did have some damage. So that double pit stop definitely not helping Ghost in his race. As we see Scott now already being lapped. Yes, already being lapped. As he's on hards. Well, he's done a couple of pit stops already. Let's look at that. Or not. Hello. Okay, so Ghost 2 pit stops and Scott on 2 pit stops already. Let's see how many of these guys can get. As we see BDR Calvin getting 5 seconds for corner cutting. So he's been being naughty. I guess he's cutting the chicane out of the tunnel. As we head to Rick, he's still relatively close behind that sim guy, but he's falling off. He's out of that second. Although that does not mean much in Monaco. That DRS does not help you whatsoever. But we see Lifeboat very close with Reshka. Sorry, I was covered. Reshka, very much so, trying to get that final spot on that podium. He's pushing Lifeboat. And consequentially losing it on the exit. But that just goes to show how much he's pushing. So Lifeboat only on 25% ERS left. So all these guys having less than 50%, except Reshka, as Lifeboat clips the his rear tires against that chicane. Easy to do when you're too eager on turn-in, and his light is flashing. So Reshka definitely definitely going to look to make an overtake somewhere in the near future. As we go back to Ghost, he is back on those medium tires. He did not like those hard tires. And yeah, as we look at Scarpiero, he's being lapped. And he is ghosting, so good thing that ghosting is on, because that could definitely be detrimental to the leader's race if a lap car were not, to not move away, or have a little miscommunication with the leading pair as Scarpiero, even though he doesn't have to brakes after the tunnel to let the leaders through. Oh, there. Let's see. As that sim guy hits the wall, the outside barrier, not the inside. So quite unusual hit, as Rick is 3/10 to that sim guy, very close. Is he going to send it too far back? 4/10 still not enough. As Reshka gets in front of Lifeboat pitting already, changing his front wing, so hit the wall. These guys not staying out of the walls at all. Let's see if somebody, well, once they like to flirt with Barrier, they might want to do a little more than that. So let's see if there's going to be any DNFs from the front runners. A lot of mistakes already, but as Monaco is, it's very punishing, and once you hit the wall, you tend to hit it again, especially when you lose tire grip and your front wing, because that's just going to cause you to understeer everywhere, and that's just not a very fun time to have. As we look at that sim guy pulling a little gap on Rick, although Rick looking very speedy on those medium tires, so Rick maybe just not having the consistency but the speed as he is heading in, covering off Lifeboat, I assume, on lap 10. What a weird cutoff. So yeah, he's not getting his front wing fixed, so he does not need to worry about Lifeboat. Oh, he needs to what? No, that was just a glitch on my end. He did not have to wait up a penalty, as Lifeboat isn't even close. But Rick getting jumped by Spilled Wrong, P Manila, and Rills, so he's gonna have to try and overtake these guys if he doesn't want Lifeboat to catch back up. Lifeboat 9 seconds behind. Is that how much a win costs? I thought it's 7 seconds. Maybe he had a bad out lap, as these hards are horrendous around Monaco. I'd much rather drive with the medium tires. So let's look at Ghost. He's gonna try and make a move. There we go. He might have the speed to do it, as he does have a penalty. Penalties 3 seconds for corner cutting, so he's been a little frisky with the track limits. Although, speaking of track limits, I don't know where you could corner cut except turn 1. All the other corners are kind of, or I guess the chicane. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But you see Ghost, he's going to try and find a way through BDR Kelvin, but he doesn't have horrible tires. He does, as Scarpiaro just goes straight into turn 1 and is trying to do a 3-point turn, which ended up being like a 5-point turn, but he got his car turned in the end, so that's what counts. And Ghost still behind BDR. He'll try to not make a mistake, try to get him cleanly. Maybe he's just going to wait for a mistake by BDR himself, but that's no good usually, because that's going to cost him a lot of time. You got to be watching out on power there. You can even spin in 4th, as I found out on Friday. I was actually in 5th and spun on the exit of the last turn, so not a lot of grip on those hards. Or old mediums? Whatever it was, no hards. As this is an opportunity for Ghost, but BDR covers it off. Ghost trying to force his way through, but BDR just putting his car there and saying nope, can do to Ghost. And if not there, I don't know where Ghost can try and overtake BDR. He doesn't have a massive pace advantage, so it's going to be very difficult for him to get alongside and overtake BDR. As there are yellow flags, Scarpiaro has spun again the penultimate corner right before the pit exit entry. As we see Ghost get a great exit, but it's just not good enough for Monaco. You need a crazy good exit if you want to overtake anybody here. As Plang is going very slow. Has he hit something? No, he's just going very slow. As you see Ghost trying everything to get past BDR. Is this it? He's going to go down the inside here. He's going to fake outside, dive down the inside. Not quite. Guess that's not the way of his driving style. He is going to try and get them around the outside here, as he did with me on Friday, and he is going to have the grip potentially. Not quite. The outside not as grippy as the inside, and BDR having enough grip to say no to Ghost. You will not pass me around the outside, as they are catching up to Plang, so Plang going to be in the way of BDR even. I don't know if that's good news for BDR or bad news for him, as Ghost is going to try and go down the inside, but BDR just covers it off, and Ghost doesn't have an answer to that. I mean, you just need to cover off the inside, and if you don't, I mean, then somebody could dive bomb if they see it. And now they've caught up to Plang, and he's lagging. I mean, BDR having to overtake Plang, that could be an opportunity for Ghost. Although side by side, if they're going side by side, I doubt Ghost is going to be able to make that move. But who knows? As we see Ghost now, right behind BDR. He doesn't know where to go. He's just gonna brake a little early, hope for a good exit, as BDR is trying to make a move on Plang, and Plang covering it off. Then Ghost trying to make a move on BDR, and BDR covering it off. So this is all a little argy-bargy, as BDR sends Plang into the Plang. Not quite, into the light post, into the barrier. And Plangs into the wall, and loses his front wing. So that might be a report, but that'll be later on. For now, Ghost still trying to get a move on BDR. BRD. Was I saying BDR the whole time? BRD, my bad. As we see, Rick also very close to P Manila, so he's making some moves. Potentially, I'm not sure. But let's go back to Ghost. He's 3/10, 2/10. Is this going to be a move down the inside? Not quite. He needs to try and get BDR to drive unconventional lines if he wants to overtake him. There, another attack from Ghost. He's trying to force an error from BRD, but it's just not happening. As we see Plang in the pits. Yeah, he's getting his wing changed. As Ghost has tried again down at turn 6 or 4, whatever it is, but just no room in Monaco. As Rick shows his teammate how it's done and makes an overtake, I think. Yeah, that wasn't there previously. And spelled wrong, moving ahead of P Manila as well, so that was hard tires, not really. As I say that, Ghost goes down around the outside of BDR, and it makes a move. I just missed that. That's unfortunate. As we see BDR having 0 ERS left to defend, and Ghost now finally being able to make that move. But he's 38 seconds down the road of the next guy, and that's Lifeboat. So yeah, as we see P Manila, there we go. He's quite close to spelled wrong. So these guys definitely in the fight for P5 or 6, something like that. As we see Reshka, these two are the only guys fighting for victory right now. I think 19 seconds was the pit time lost today in today's race, so I'm assuming similar for this race. So for that sim guy, he hasn't even pit yet, and he's still leader on track if he has once he pits, as there are yellow flags, but not for long. As Lifeboat is 2/10 to P Manila, he's gonna try and make that overtake as soon as possible, but that low battery isn't gonna help him. Neither is that DRS assistance for Manila. Oh, that was a little too far left for Lifeboat as he hits the wall, but I think he got away with that one. Let's see, good exit. That's what he needs. Or he needs P Manila to get a bad exit. That's what he just got. Diving down the inside, and that's going to be... back camera. That's not going to be a move done. How did P Manila get out of that one? He was side by side, and then he was ahead of Lifeboat, even though he had the outside line. So Lifeboat just... It's not his day today, I guess. As long as he doesn't do anything too stupid, he should be good to go, as he taps P Manila very slightly on the rear. Don't ask too much of your car here. Easy to spin. As we see Rick 3/10 to Rills. He's on a mission. As P Manila hits the wall, he couldn't have gotten away with that, has he? I love these camera angles. I have no idea. As Lifeboat is very, very close to P Manila currently. As he hits the wall again, so P Manila treating this more like a bumper car than a F1 car currently. Maybe he has damage and he just is understeering everywhere, or maybe it's the hard tires, or it could be a combination of both. Anyway, as long as he isn't getting damage, I guess he's doing what he can. Lifeboat losing the rear a little bit there, and P Manila getting 3 seconds, so he's being a little bit naughty with those track limits. As he hits the wall again, man, that car is made out of steel, if not carbon fiber. As we look back to Rick, he has 3/10, 2/10, and 30% battery, but he isn't using anything, so he's not arming an attack. Yes, he is, and he goes wide. He does a 180, and he gets that relatively fast, as Spelled Wrong is going to overtake him, and P Manila, and Lifeboat. Lifeboat gets 2 and 1, as P Manila is a little bit squirming off exit, and Rick is going to lose 3 positions. He did get a relatively fast spin there, but it just wasn't enough. A little mistake into turn 1, and it's down 3 positions for him. And that crucial position to Lifeboat, as he's fighting him on track. So Lifeboat getting a 2 and 1. He finally gets P Manila and Rick through that mistake from Rick, as he now heads to Spelled Wrong. As Scarpiaro has DNF'd in the pits though, so not too bad. So yeah, it's now back to back Spelled Wrong, Lifeboat, Manila, and Rills, and Rick, as Rick hits the back of P Manila, as finally, or sadly, he gets some wing damage after treating his car like it's indestructible. And Rick getting some damage in that as well. That's very unfortunate. And BDR retiring from the race as well in the pits though. But Rick, really the unfortunate one here, getting some wing damage whilst being innocent, not making any mistakes, well, except into turn 1. But outside of that, he had a pretty clean race and had a couple of nice overtakes, as he's, I think, glitched again a little bit, yeah. And P Manila coming out ahead of Rick, that's a little annoying for the Dutchman probably. So he's going to have to watch out that he doesn't make another mistake. But he's on medium tires now, so Rick definitely going to have a more enjoyable race than on those really annoying hards. But now back to Lifeboat, as he's ahead of Spelled Wrong. Wow, I missed that overtake. That's slightly annoying. But Spelled Wrong hasn't pitted yet, and Lifeboat has. So Lifeboat now almost a pit stop ahead of Rick. Sorry. Speaking of Rills, He's had a pretty quiet, but a pretty decent race for now. 4 positions. As there's a Alpine going straight on, and that's Ghost. He hasn't had the greatest of races. As Reshka is in the pits just exiting, and he's gonna come out ahead of Rills. So he's gonna have, yeah, well, he's just gonna have clean air, I guess. But let's look back down at, oh, let's look live. Oh no. He's gonna do a pit stop now that he has the breathing room to do one. He doesn't have to change his front wing. And he's gonna come out ahead of Rick and Pimanilla, I believe. It's gonna be very close though. As Lifeboat is gonna come out just ahead of Rick, 3/10. So not a lot of breathing room for Lifeboat there, but a very crucial overtake. And Rick is going to go around the outside of Lifeboat here and ahead of Lifeboat. What an overtake from the Dutchman. Very clean, very nice job there. I believe you left him enough room everywhere, and that was just a clean move. Lifeboat just on those cold medium tires, not quite able to stay ahead. Although, did he have to change his front wing? Potentially. That's why he pitted maybe. But these guys just all not having the best race of their lives. Making too many mistakes as Ghost goes on soft. What is a strategy from the Brit? Maybe he's just making too many mistakes. He's like, fuck it. I mean, screw it. I'm making too many mistakes. Let's just put on the grippiest tire there is, and let's just pop in a good lap, get that fastest lap, and maybe pit again. Once those tires are going to fall off, because 20 laps or 18 laps, that's not going to be enough time for him to do anything. I mean, not enough time. What? That's going to be too big of a stint for those soft tires. My bad. As Reshka is decreasing that gap to that Sim guy, and he has decreased it so much so that that Sim guy is going to be very close. 19 seconds you lose on a pit stop, and it's 18.8. So Reshka, it's push now for Reshka. Let's see, he needs to ace this final sector to stay in front or ahead or overtake that Sim guy, and that Sim guy just needs a clean pit stop onto those medium tires. Let's see, where is he going to come out? Reshka pushing with that last ERS that he has. Here's that Sim guy, and he has done enough, I believe. It's going to be side by side, but it is going to be Reshka ahead of that Sim guy. So Reshka, he has done enough to put it ahead of that Sim guy. Now it's on that Sim guy's, I don't know, he's passing the ball into that Sim guy. Now it's your call to overtake me. And it's going to be that move that he is going to have to do, because that Reshka is going to go until the end here. As spelled wrong, as let Rick by? No, he is pitted. And he is in front of Rick, but behind Rick, but in front of Lifeboat. So that's going to be to the annoyance of Lifeboat. All these guys now on medium tires, and all these guys on penalties. So yeah, this is the battle for fourth currently, as it's a kind of a four-way battle. Although Rick is leading that with a relatively comfortable gap, 2 seconds. As we now look at that Sim guy. Oh no, Ghost. Oh no, he's just letting them through because he's lapped. Words that I didn't think I'd say today. Ghost being lapped. So you know that wasn't his best race. You'd think he'd have been involved in some incidents, but it's just all his fault as far as I can tell today. As Rills has pitted, and he's going to come out comfortably ahead of Rick and everyone else. So he's on that last podium position. Just a quiet race for him. He's just avoided the chaos behind him and in front of him, and he's come out in P3. But now let's look at the two leaders of the race. Reshka with almost no ERS, and that Sim guy with fresher tires and almost a full battery. He's going to have to overtake Reshka somewhere. Reshka very, very fast, and well, not too clumsy driver himself. He just needs to keep it clean, needs to not make mistakes, just needs to close the door whenever that sim guy does get an opportunity to have a little look somewhere, and then that should be a interesting fight till the very end. As we see 2/10, is that sim guy gonna try and do a move around the outside? He is, but it's just not enough, as Reshka is gonna close that door. No, he's not, but that sim guy just a little too far back on this lap. As Spielberg gets the fastest lap of the race. Now, that sim guy, he needs a good exit. He does get one, 2/10. This is going to be very close. It's either now or never. That's Reshka depleting all of his ERS that he can, and it's going to be never. That's my prediction. As he does hit the wall, but he gets away with that. He does a little not last show. He does a little Lando Norris there in qualifying on Saturday. Hits the wall on the exit of the chicane. So let's see if he can arm up another attack. He still has 50% ERS, so plenty of ERS to play with. Reshka onto 14. That's not a lot, but he isn't blinking for whatever reason. I thought it's 15% or lower, but maybe it's not. As we go down to Lifeboat and Spelled Wrong. These guys all following one another. But let's head back to that sim guy. He's on those faster compound tires. He's gonna try and overtake Reshka somewhere. He really needs Reshka to do a mistake here, because those medium tires aren't going to last forever. This battery is not going to hold up forever, and he really needs to make a move. As he is going to up a move, and it's going to look down the inside, and that Reshka just leaves him barely enough space. But that sim guy chickening out there, out of that move. I mean, that would have been a collision otherwise, but he threw everything at Reshka, and Reshka just said, well, you can look down the inside, but you can't have the position. So Reshka playing a very smart game. Now that sim guy not having the battery quite to make a move again, and that sim guy is still on 13%. I don't know how he's done that, but he's done that somehow. As Ghost again makes a mistake by himself. Another mistake. Why is he on hards? He's gone from softs to hards when there's only 20 laps left, so... And he's binned it. I don't know what's happening with Ghost. Next thing you know, he's going to be on inters. This race is a race to forget for the Brit. For the 7-time sprint champion? I'm not quite sure how many times he's won it. Definitely a lot. As we look at that sim guy, he needs a good exit. He needs Reshka to get a bad exit. I mean, it could be a tactic from Reshka to just get a bad enough exit for that sim guy to think that he has an opportunity, and Reshka is just licking his lips. As that sim guy has made a mistake and is going to get 3 seconds for cutting the chicane, although he didn't get a lasting advantage out of that, so he might try to get that removed. But let's look at the race right now, and not the stewards room later, as we see these guys all very bunched up, very close to one another, fighting for 4th. Rick is the leader of this group. Let's see how many penalties. There we go, penalties. So Rick with the least amount of penalties. Well, Spielberg with the most ones, rather, and then everyone else only having 3 seconds. So let's see. Spielberg, though, the one with the most positions gained in this race on track, but that's not going to help with anything. As they have caught up to Rills. My bad, this is not battle for 4th, but battle for 3rd, kind of, because they have all penalties. But this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way fight. Kind of. Kind of a 5-way fight. 4.5, let's say. What am I doing? There we go. As that Sim guy has fallen off to Reshka for a second, and he's lost his front wing. So Reshka, that strategy has worked out for him. He's baited that Sim guy into making a mistake, and that Sim guy is going to have to pit this lap. Is that going to be enough? 19 seconds from there. It's going to be close, I believe. Maybe not too close. Did he have enough? 26 seconds. That's 19 plus 7. That's going to be a close call with these guys. He needs a great exit out of this. It's going to be very close between these guys and that Sim guy. That Sim guy just coming out now. And Rick, and that's and spelled wrong. No, spelled wrong. Not going to be able to overtake him. So he's fallen behind Rick and behind Rills, and now this five-way battle for third has become a six-way battle for second. As that Sim guy is on softs, and he's going to try and overtake Rick, while Rick is going to try and overtake Rills. So Rills really just everything's playing into his cards, as that Sim guy gets a great exit with these soft tires. Rick, is he going to leave him the space? Well, not really, but he doesn't have to in the tunnel, as that Sim guy again fakes a move down the inside, but he isn't going to quite pull it off as he gets the exit though, and Rick is defenseless, I wanted to say, but he's putting up quite a good defense, as Rick is going to put his elbows out and say, I'm not giving up this P3. But is he fighting with blunt weapons? No, you're never fighting with blunt weapons in Monaco. But that Sim guy getting a really good exit out of that final corner, and Rick on those older tires, as Rick is forcing that Sim guy wide, and he's forced him into the barrier. But that Sim guy not getting too bad damage, and he's in front of Rick finally, as Rick has put up a valiant fight and valiant effort, as he is showing that he does want that third position, although he probably isn't going to get that in this race. But what a fight for third. More action than I thought that would be in this race. What a race. Now Reshka just needs to bin it as well, maybe get a flat tire, who knows. I know we're really talking. He could also just pit for fun and then see what happens. I see, so Rills now, he's going to be looking in his mirrors. His next opponent is stronger than Rick. He's faster than Rick. He's on those soft tires. He has fresher tires than Rick. It's going to be an even tougher fight for Rills now to keep that second position. But all he has to do is stay within 3 seconds once that Sim guy, if that Sim guy can overtake him. As that Sim guy is now fighting with no ERS left in the tank. He does have really, really fresh softs, and he is going to have a little look down the inside after turn 1. As you see, just that superior grip showing on that Sim guy's racing line. He's going left, he's going right, he can go wherever he wants, but he just can't get past Rills as easily as he would like to do. But if we focus for a couple of seconds a little away from this race, or from this battle for second, Reshka has done everything that he needed to do to put in P1. He put that Sim guy under pressure, and that Sim guy did buckle under it. He made that mistake, he didn't get past him, and beautiful strategy call from Reshka. Bad strategy call from that Sim guy. He stayed up 1 lap too late, or too long, as he almost goes into the barrier there, having to correct his amount of going to the left in that first turn, as he gets hit by Rick. Rick's still showing that he is still here to fight, and he still wants to do something. As Lifeboat pits for another wing change. His Lifeboat just can't keep it out of the walls. As it doesn't seem like that Sim guy is going to make an overtake in the next couple of seconds. No, definitely not into the 180 corner. So let's look at Reshka. He's on those hard tires. He could box for softs now if he wanted to play it safe. I mean, those soft tires are going to have extra grip, and he's going to have that extra fastest lap points if he wanted to. But I guess that's a no. He wants to have that 30-second gap in case he doesn't make that mistake. Now let's look at that sim guy. He's going to try and get that switchback like he did on Rick. He's going to try to get the better traction, but there's just not enough traction in those tires on that track. He's going to have a little wheel spin, and that's it for his attack for now. He's going to have to wait one more lap. Or we're going to try and do something with DRS, but that's not really helping because DRS is there for like 20 meters. But who knows? 0.2, less than 0.2. But he's not even using ERS as the rails breaks very early, and that irritates that sim guy, and he's going to lose out big time. So Rails playing this brilliantly. He knows what he's doing. He's fought for podium positions before. Great drive by him. So as we look down to Ghost, he's catching up to Playing, and he's on full battery. So who knows what he's doing. Maybe he's just trying to stay out of the walls, which hasn't worked out really for him this race, but who knows. As that sim guy, 0.3. That's just not close enough though. He might want to save up some ERS for a couple laps, but while he's doing that, his tires are getting worse and worse comparably to those medium tires of Rills. They're getting warmer, they're getting more worn. And Rills still has 41% in those in that battery. Two tenths. He needs that switchback. He needs to dive down the inside. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive, that sim guy. He's just... you can't make a move that isn't elbows out in Monaco. You need to dive late down the inside into the chicane. You need to force somebody to take a line which they otherwise wouldn't. You need to try and do something. You can't just sit back and stare. And if you get an opportunity, you need to seize that opportunity, because those don't come often in Monaco. And maybe that sim guy's opportunities have all been wasted as he loses the car on the exit, but he catches a beautiful save. But again, just showing that his tires are degrading whilst Rill's tires are just getting better and better. Not only that, but his battery comparatively. I guess it only goes up from 0% battery, but still, not great news for that sim guy. Not only that, but there's only 4 laps left, and he does have a penalty, so this looks like it's going Rill's way, but more than that, it looks like it's going Reshka's way on the hard tires. As we see P. Manila pit, and that is going to be Lifeboat ahead of P. Manila on pit stops, or pit strategy, I guess. As you see, Rill is just taking it nice and slow, having a little stroll through the park, through the second sector. He doesn't need to speed up. Why would he? But that sim guy having a little extra pace somewhere. He's going to try and make a move around the outside, as there's not a lot of room given to him. I mean, 2 cars just don't fit through there, as Rick has the perfect view on these 2 guys fighting. And Rick is going to try and lick his lips. He's going to try and see where can he make a move. It's going to be on a later lap, although Rill's going very slowly here. I don't know why. This could be an opportunity for that sim guy. He's going to try and move around the outside. No, it's going to be around in the inside. He's going to dive bomb. No, he's not. But he needs to, if he wants to get that second place. He's just too cautious. Being cautious isn't bad, but if you want to overtake somebody, you gotta put your elbows out, buddy. as he sticks behind one more time. And meanwhile, Rick just saving up his ERS. He's just waiting for that sim guy to make a little mistake and then have a run at him. Either at lap 38, 39, somewhere there. As he knows that he's going to get slowed down by Rills, and he doesn't have the ERS to defend Rick once he is going to attack. But Rick losing his rear there, saving the car, nice save. That's not going to help his fight, but Rills is going to slow that sim guy down, so it's not too big of a problem here. Let's look at the penalties just to make sure. Both of these guys are on 3 seconds, yes. So, now 3/10, that's too big of a gap. You really need a 10th, if not less, to try and eye up a move in Monaco. Even if you're on softs, even if the other person is on mediums. As playing has rejoined. And Ghost finally showing himself somewhere in this race, putting in the fastest lap with those softs. If I would have to guess, he's pitted 5 times at least. And that sim guy is losing traction on the exit into the hairpin, and that's exactly what Rick is going to try and use to his advantage somehow. As it's not going to be this lap, but it is going to be next lap. He's going to be using all of his ERS that he has stored up for the last, what was this, 8 laps? And he's going to try and make a move back up to that P3 that he lost 8, 9, 10 laps ago. So there we go. Oh no, this is the second last lap. My bad. It's because Reshka is so far ahead. Messing up with my calculations, so he does have 2 more laps to do this, so he's going to try and do it on lap 38, and he's going to try and do it on lap 39, obviously. If that doesn't work, I'm going to assume that he's going to try it not on the last lap, but on the penultimate lap, as that sim guy does make another mistake here. That just shows Rick that he is vulnerable, and he does bleed, as P Manila is just right in the middle of the track. That's not very elegant. But let's look at Rick, and he is using that ERS button. Is he going to try and look down the inside? Not quite this lap. He's going to look down the inside next lap, and he's going to try and trigger a way to get through that sim guy. As he hits the wall, that's not going to help him, but that's not going to give him damage either, so he's fine. As he loses it, he's pushing. You can see all 3 of these guys very much so at their limits, as it is the last lap now. Him pushing a little too much there, not getting damaged though, keeping the car within, I don't know, intact I guess, within the racetrack, not hitting the walls. So, luck or skill, who knows, but great save nevertheless, as we see these guys. Ooh, that's another wall ride for Rick, but his car is fine. As we see Reshka almost at the finish line, he just needs a couple more corners, and this is going to be simultaneously, so Reshka kind of spoiling us the show. Who's going to come out in front here? We'll stay on board here with that sim guy. And Rick is just a little too far back as we go. And he's too far back as we go to Reshka. He's going to finish the Monaco Grand Prix in P1. What a drive from Reshka. As we look back to Rills and that sim guy and Rick. These guys fighting for the last steps of the podium. As that sim guy, for good measure, hits the barrier one more time. Rick as well. He's going to try and dive down the inside. He's not quite going to make that. He's going to have more contact with the wall, but he doesn't care about that. It was that move. It was now or never, and it's going to be never for Rick. But it is going to be P4. So what a decent comeback drive for Rick. And what a good, what a great drive by Rills. And that sim guy, a little disappointed after that wing damage, after losing out to Reshka on strategy, after not getting past Reshka. So, final step on the podium for him. It's not gonna be uh, consoling. Is that a word? Sure it is. For him, but it's gonna be something, I guess. And then Ghost, I don't know. I don't know who was driving, but that's not the Ghost that I know. No clue what happened there. But Rill's driver of the day, he is mine as well. What a what a great drive by him, just keeping it out of the walls, keeping it calm, not buckling under pressure from that sim guy. Well, first Rick, then that sim guy, and he just did everything right. I mean, um, Reshka did an amazing race on strategy and had an amazing pace, but the Aston Martin of Rails was just, I don't know, my driver of the day. So here we see the race winner. So it is going to be Reshka on top, 30 seconds to spare. Then it's going to be Rails in the Aston Martin. Then that sim guy, like I said, he's going to be slightly disappointed. Started on pole, finishing P3. It's not too bad, but it's not going to be what he wanted. Then Rick, P4. Decent drive after, I think he had, oh yeah, after that wing change at the very start. Lifeboat, well, what a something. He pitted at least 3 or 4 times, spelled wrong, and the rest also not their finest Grand Prix. Let's look at race director. I mean, look at that. Pima no Ghost. I said 5 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Pitting 6 times. That's gonna put you back a little bit. So yeah. This one stop for Rills and Reshka worked out. As you see, the only people who one stopped were the ones that were on the top of the podium steps, and everybody else on 2 stoppers or more. But what a Monaco Grand Prix! More overtakes than I thought there would be, and it was fun to commentate. So I'll see you guys. I won't see you guys next week, but I will potentially see you guys in 2 weeks. So yeah. Um, have a good one.